All right, let's get started. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us. And also, I'd like to thanks to our sponsors. So first of all, Rendoli. So you guys eat the food sponsored by Rendoli. My friend Rajesh and his team here to help us. And they very much, appreciate the AWS to provide us the menu. So you guys probably saw the message. So probably roughly 2 weeks ago, I was challenging about to find another place because the space looks like it's running out of battery. Let's find another one.
Yes, you press the button. Now it's syncing. It's syncing.
This one is.
Where's the other mic? There you go.
Oh, it's back. Yeah. Okay. I forgot where we talk about AWS, right? AWS is my friend. I love AWS. I'm an AWS community builder. So does anyone also hear AWS community builder? No? One? Only one? I do see two. Seriously. You guys will be very happy to be part of the AWS community program. So I enjoyed being part of the AWS community program. So for 2 years, I'm an AWS community builder specialized on the containers. So I love AWS, I love EKS. So, and when I talk to AWS, they are willing to help us. So I'm glad AWS sponsors us. So thanks to AWS. So this is our fourth meetup. So previously all done by, so let me roll back. So all of the, why? Okay, let me. Oh, is that not battery?
Let's try something else.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just give it a minute. Give it a minute. Let it sync.
All right.
Probably have to project your voice in the meantime.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
No, just speak. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Not a problem. Okay, so the whole group running by volunteers. So including here, Singapore and Australia. So I'm also one of the volunteers. So in the meantime, we're also looking for more volunteers to help us make sense of all the, and we're also looking for sponsors, looking for people to join us as a speaker. So I can't come here very often, but you guys are locally here. If you do learn something new, why not join us to share with your peers? So that's where I set up the group for the platform for everybody to learn quicker, to share what you learn, to help the community to be more capable of doing the Kubernetes. So the reason I set up this, actually, I want to learn Kubernetes. I realize that there's too much stuff to learn. I just can't learn by myself. So use this platform, you can learn from someone else, you can learn quicker. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, these are our volunteers. So me here, I'm very happy to be a CNCF ambassador. If you guys are interested, yeah, you should follow me to become a CNCF ambassador. So right now, I believe globally we only have like 150. So how to become a CNCF ambassador? Yeah, you follow me. I show you all the details. You can join as a CNCF ambassador or join as an AWS community builder. And then we also have Deb and Ashish Pujan. So they were here. Debo was already left earlier, but they are locally here. So they are our main organizers here to help us to continue to run the meetup. So here is a group. So KSUG, we are the most active Kubernetes meetup. So you probably want to be able to find some other Kubernetes meetup are more active than us. So in Singapore, we started to run once every month, but now we're running more than once every month. We got too much stuff to learn, right? So you need to run more often. But could be in the future we can run more than once here in Canada as well. So look at the numbers. Singapore, we got 23 members, and then Australia, we got 800 plus members, and plus Canada, we're also moving very fast. So August, we started our first meetup. Now we got 500 plus members. Our mission. So very simple. We're very passionate about Kubernetes. And our mission is to accelerate the Kubernetes adoption. So we're learning from each other and share what we learn. So I'm going to skip the Kubernetes benefits. Yeah, that's something you guys can learn by yourself. So I mentioned earlier why I said this, because if you look at anybody know the Kubernetes landscape, so if you go to the URL i.cncf.io, you can see there are so many different vendors across all different categories. So that's why we set up this platform for everybody to join us to learn, to share what you learn. And again, thanks to our sponsors, AWS, so from this particular one, and Randoli, and plus CNCF also one of my sponsors. So from time to time, they sponsor us some swags. I do bring a few swags as well, like stickers and also some other small stuff. And the CloudCasa is also one of my main sponsors from the beginning. That's why you see there is a banner here. Actually, they helped me design the logo. They printed me our KSUG banner as well, not just Canada and Singapore and Australia. So I including the sponsors here. So I mentioned it earlier already. We need more volunteers to help us, to help other people to learn. We need more sponsors for the food, drinks. It could be swags. It's more fun, right? And also more speakers. So follow us on LinkedIn. We also go very fast. So I only created the LinkedIn page from June. So far we got 1,700 followers. So what do we have today? So the first one, I will talk about the automated EKS cluster creation and the protection. So has anybody tried Amazon EKS? Oh, that's a lot. It's quite common. So Amazon EKS is so popular. So you might notice in the latest Gartner Magic Quadrant. So Amazon is one of the clear leaders. And not just it's a clear leader. If you look at the market share, Amazon also a clear leader. So even Google, the Kubernetes originated from Google, but if you look at the market share, Amazon is the leader. So I will talk about the first topic, and then I will pass over to Rajith to talk about the 5 lessons learned build the platform abstraction for Kubernetes. I hope it is useful to you guys. So that's today's session. Let me start the first one. And then towards the end, after the both of the session, we typically have an open mic time. This is a very interesting one. So maybe you have something to share. For example, maybe you are aware of some other meetup group. I met, sorry, I forgot him. Yeah, he's running some other meetup group. Maybe you guys are interested. So maybe you are looking for a job. Maybe you are hiring. It's a community event, right? It's helping a lot of people, not just helping people to learn, also helping people finding job. Okay. So we're trying to make it shorter. Yeah, for after the two sessions, open mic time, you just raise your hand. Maybe you just want to introduce yourself. You want to grow your social media, social platform. I have 35K LinkedIn followers. So if you want to grow, it's a great opportunity for you to talk about, to introduce yourself. So that's all for now. Any question? All good? No other question? I will start the first topic. Yeah, I do want to make it an interactive session. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So to automate EKS cluster, or towards the end, I forgot to mention, we're going to have a quiz time. So we will ask you, are you guys really listening? Okay. Yeah. So automating a EKS, the latest version 1.28, you only need like 15 minutes. 15 minutes. So I created the automation scripts. You just clone the repository, you run the EKS deploy, we can spin up the EKS cluster very quickly. So if I'm a developer, you don't really want to dealing with how to create an EKS cluster. From the UI, multiple steps, and then you need to create all of these rules, etc. It takes a long time. All you need as a developer, I just want to run my application, right? So I created these automation scripts. It's publicly available from GitHub. To introduce myself a little bit, you see, I love AWS. So I'm 9 times AWS certified. So I created the slides 2 days ago, before my 10th certification. Okay. So by now, actually, I did 10 times AWS certified. The last one is AWS developer. I'm actually not a developer. I don't think I'm a developer. But if you're willing to learn, you can do the certification. That's a great way to learn. I know someone else, there are some people saying, oh, certification is useless. But trust me, if you learn something new, if you want to learn something new, you want to force yourself to learn, it's a great way to learn something new. And I'm also fully certified on Kubernetes. So my job, I'm just a AWS community builder. I'm a CNCF ambassador. I'm also CloudCasa ambassador, CloudCasa ambassador. I love to help in the community. Okay. So let's get to the meat. How to create a EKS cluster. So by automation, you only need 50 minutes. If you don't have a AWS account, shouldn't be the case, right? So majority of people are using AWS, but if you don't have, you just sign up a trial account, only like 5 minutes, and then you can use the automation to spin up an EKS cluster, typically about 50 minutes. So in the last few releases, AWS actually continues to optimize to improve. So they used to need like 20 minutes, and now drop down around 15 minutes, 40 minutes, so which is pretty good. And for me, I just do some testing. Once I finish the testing, I don't want to keep it running. AWS will charge you, keeps charging me. So it's just destroy. You run another command, clean up the whole environment. So a little bit preparation task. So first of all, you open CloudShift. I guess everybody using AWS should be familiar with AWS CloudShift. And then you clone the GitHub repository. And once you clone the repository, you change to the directory. And if you want, you can customize the class name, instance type, or the region, the zone. By default, I make the US East. I think the Eastern flow. And because that's the cheapest region I can use. Okay. And then you just run the one magic command, EKS deploy. So what's inside the EKS deploy? So we're going to create the ECS, not the ECS, sorry, create the IAM rules. So if you manually to create an EKS cluster, you need to first of all create the EKS cluster rule. You need to create an EKS node IAM rule. And then you need to create a control plan before you create the node group. So it's multiple steps. And if you are familiar, There is also another thing, if you're running nowadays, more and more customers move the state of application to the Kubernetes cluster. So like the PostgreSQL database or MongoDB, all these state of application are running inside of the Kubernetes. So you need to enable the CSI, so container storage interface, to be able to create the PVC. These are a lot of steps. So if you're not automating it, you read the Amazon documentation, you will get lost. So I also automated how to enable the CSI. And then finally deploy a sample database, a host database. Okay, let's see how it works. I already tried. So basically all you need is you go to the GitHub page. So I create the GitHub page from when I can't remember. So the first one, EKS-Casa. And then you can go straight to the README section, so you can see the steps. So you can actually copy the command and then run from the command line. Okay, you go back to the Cloud Shell. And then you paste the command here, you go to the clone. And then I already did. So that's why you see the warning messages. And then you can run another command, it will change it to the directory. And then followed by all you need to do is just run another command to automate. So to deploy, you run this command. To destroy, the next command. And also, that's my second part, how to enable the container backups. So even you're running the containers on the Kubernetes, you also need a backup. So why you need a backup? So it could be somebody accidentally deleted something, or maybe it could be anything happen. So you don't want to, could be before you patching upgrade, you want to take a full backup. So the Valor is number one open source backup tool. I also automated it. You just run one command, 1 minute you can enable the Kubernetes backup for your EKS containers. And also some other stuff like a secure the containers, etc. So I leave these to you guys to explore a little bit. So for now, all we need to do is we just run the EKS deploy. It will start to create the cluster. So yeah, I don't want to wait 15 minutes. I just show you the video. I also pre-created the video. So how to do it? So once you run the command, so basically this is, can you guys see it? Yeah. To create the EKS cluster and plus create all the relevant IAM rules, create the control plane node, and followed by node group. And also we're going to enable the CSI drivers, and plus finally deploy a PostgreSQL sample database. The whole steps, it does take about 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause here until it finishes. Okay, as you can see from the screen, so we already created the control plane, we already created the node group. Now we are enabling the CSI driver on the EKS cluster. So it takes probably 1 minute or so.
Yeah, we can skip.
Yeah, now we're installing the required CRDs. So like the volume snapshot class, etc. And we are also creating the storage class CSI based on the EBS CSI storage class. And the final step is deploy the PostgreSQL database. As you can see, total time is 15 minutes, 6 seconds. I tell you what, AWS actually improved, optimized quite a little bit from the last few months. Yeah, this is a. What do you guys think? You can try by yourself. If you want to update, you make any suggestions, you can make a pull request. Yeah, it's an open source. It's available from GitHub. Yeah, let me come back to the slide. So I want to say it again. If you don't want to be charged by AWS, because it's, most of us are just doing some testing, right? Doing some loading. Remember to destroy it. Otherwise, you will be keep charged by AWS. Yeah. So I'm going to remove this cluster I created earlier first. Anyway, I can do it later. So some reference links. If you really want to create a formal web console, I also have another video to show you how to create an EKS cluster from a web console. the day one, to create a EKS cluster so easy, so simple. Comparing the hard way, if you're installing the Linux and use the kubeADM to create the cluster, the hard way, it takes a long time. So the managed Kubernetes does makes life a lot easier. What about the day two? You already have a cluster. So how to back them up? How to secure the containers? So you might want to migrate the containers. Could be from on-premises to Amazon. Could be from other cloud to AWS. So I also have some other videos to talk about how to do this security stuff, or how to do the migration piece. Yeah, I will share you guys the slides. Yeah, you don't need to worry about it. Take a screenshot. So that's about my first part about how to automate Amazon EKS cluster. So any question? Yeah, go ahead.
Shell scripts as opposed to like some declarative tool like Terraform.
Okay. Yeah, the question is why I'm using the shell scripts rather than using like a Terraform for the automation. Yet Terraform is a very good tool for the infra as code automation, but it's one of the main requirements, especially in production. You want to maintain the desired state. For testing, really, do you really need to maintain anything? You don't need, right? So that's why it's easy for me. I just use the EKS CTL, the command, to spin up a cluster. Once I've done all the testing, just destroy it. Because I don't want to maintain, keeps running like as a production system. Okay. But having said that, if you want to create the cluster as a production, it is also doable. But more likely, you might use Ansible or Terraform to automate these. Okay. Yeah. Question.
A couple of questions. First,
Yeah.
especially within the your shell script, I was curious about what were you using in terms of type code. Is it like LBS CLI or SDK?
Yeah.
And also, is there a way to sort of modify or customize the installation?
Yeah.
Do you have any flags that people can use to just sort of customize the deployment?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I speak of that part. I did not show you the actual code. If you look into the code, you will be pretty familiar. This one. So if you look at the GitHub page, if you open up the EKS deployed, so you can see exactly what's inside. If you want to customize, yeah, feel free to customize. So you can make a clone, you can make a fork, or you clone another copy, you can customize. So for example, how to create a cluster, I just run the EKS CTL. So by default, one node, but it can be scaled to up to 3 nodes. And the node type, the instance type, I choose a very small one. I don't want to, because it's my testing, I don't want to keep charged by too much. Okay, so how to enable CSI? You can open up to look how to deploy a PostgreSQL, etc. Does that answer your question? And if you want, yeah, you can make a pull request. I would say make some new suggestions or optimization. Yeah, we can make it better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another one? Yeah, go for it.
That's a backup. I saw there's another script. Okay, I was just curious about what do you mean by backup? Is it like the stateful sets or the control plan or etcd?
Yeah. Okay, that's another good question. Yeah, let's advance to the next topic about the backup. I love open source. I love the 3.1. So the Valor, that's the #1 free open source backup tool. especially for Kubernetes. So it's relatively easy, but if you're not familiar to it, might be also challenging. If you read the documentation also, you might get lost. So I automated. I make it just run one command 1 minute, literally to any Kubernetes cluster. So far I tested on Amazon EKS and other cloud as well. If you don't have an EKS cluster, we just talk about it earlier. So I got the YouTube video to show you how to do it. So once you have the EKS cluster, how to use the Malware to do the backup. I show you the step-by-step of how to do it, and then towards the end, I show you how to automate it. So first of all, you need to verify if you got the supported version. The prerequisite is, so you need to have 1.16 plus. Obviously, now it's already 1.8 and 1.28. So who else are still running 1.16? So definitely most of the customers already moved to the latest version. And you need to have the kubectl installed locally to your terminal. And once you've done that, all you need to do just 3 steps on the high level. How to enable the backup. First of all, you create an S3 bucket. You create the Amazon S3 bucket for the backup. So you want to take a copy from your system and copy to the Amazon S3 bucket. So you create the S3 bucket. How to access? You need to give the permissions for Malware to access the S3 bucket, access your cluster to be able to take the snapshot, etc. And then finally, you install the Malware. 3 high-level steps. I automated. So in the same GitHub repository, you can find another command, Valero deploy and a Valero destroy. So the Valero deploy command basically enable the Valero backup. So that's the 3 high-level steps. I automated these. And destroy, you just want to clean them up. And once you enable it, basically, if you're from the command line, you just run the Valero deploy command. So if I come back here, you can see, you just copy the command to run from your terminal. Copy from the Cloud Shell. As long as you have the kubectl installed, and you can run this command, you will do the whole automation. So instead of doing that, I'm going to show you another video. Yeah, make it quicker. So this is, yeah, it should be almost here. Let's do it. So I'm here already in the folder. All I need to do is just run Valero bash deploy. Okay, press enter. So first of all, we're going to create the IAM roles, and then create the Amazon S3 bucket, enable the permissions, and finally, we're going to kick off the on-demand backup jobs. Yeah, it looks like it's already done. It takes like 16 seconds. It's already done. But how to verify? So here's a few commands actually on screen. So here's a few actually before I verify. If we want to validate if the backup is okay, let me jump to this screen. So here is a command to verify the backup. So we just run Valero backup get or kubectl get backups. So let's verify. So Valero backup get. Yes, looks like I do have a backup and it's already completed. And now, if I want to simulate a disaster, I can simply just delete the whole namespace. So by the way, what I backed up, it's a young-PostgreSQL. It's a namespace which has PostgreSQL installed. So I just run the command. I'm going to delete the whole namespace to simulate a disaster. And after that, I'm going to validate if the namespace has been deleted. So I'm going to wait the delete finish, and then I'm going to get namespace to confirm the namespace has been successfully deleted. So get namespace now not found. So now how to restore? So I'm come back here. So to restore, all we need to do is just run the Valero restore, create from a backup. So for my case, I just run the Valero restore, create from the backup. And then you will see the backup job or the restore job submitted successfully. If you want to verify, you just run this command, or you can verify by the logs. So while we are doing the verify, let's see if the namespace has been created. Okay, it looks like it's finished. You can see 24 seconds ago, the namespace has been created and the pod is up running. So you see how fast it is to restore the containers. So if I want to confirm, I can get the namespace to see if the yon-post.SQL is back. Yes, it is back 47 seconds ago. If you want to verify the ports, you can also verify the port is up running, so all good. We just successfully What do you guys think? So that might answer the question the gentleman asked earlier. What we backed up? So we basically, the Valaro can be granularly back up your individual namespace. Everything inside your namespace, including your configure map, secrets, your PVC, etc. Everything inside that namespace can be backed up. And when it comes to restore, you can granularly restore the individual objects as well. Or you just do the whole namespace restore. Also give you the possibility you want to migrate from one cluster to the other. So you can use the backup tool to do the restore. Okay. So we already saw the video how to simulate the disaster. I destroyed the namespace and then I restored the namespace back. So only also I got a very smaller one, so only like a less than 1 minute it can be restored. So the common commands, what are the typical commands you can use? And a little bit more commands, like you want to find where are my backup goes to. So Valaro backup location get, you can see it will point to your storage bucket. The typical use case is for the container backups. So for the container DR, you want to have production here, DR size on a different location, or maybe you want to migrate the containers. So just to summarize, why Valaro for EKS? First of all, Amazon actually has no native backup tool for your EKS backup. So the very popular one is the #1 free open source backup tool, Valaro, to do the backup. And it is trusted by many customers globally, relatively mature. But one thing is it does require the skilled users. You see how to do the backup, you have to write the command. How to do the restore, you have to do the command. You want to see the report, you want to have a nice UI? No way. Because it does not provide the UI. So that comes to my question. Why we still need a third-party tool? So for example, like a CloudCasa, my friend. So they do provide you additional benefits. So one of the very important benefits is about a nice UI. You got a graphical user interface. Even all of your Valaro backup will be automatically discovered by CloudCasa. So all of my backup right now, I just connect to CloudCasa. It will display all of your existing backup, your existing backup location, your existing restore job, etc. You can manually kick off the job from CloudCasa UI. You can also do the migration from the UI, which is a lot easier for, especially for people who are not very experienced, or you just want to easily, intuitively interface. That's one of the best one. But also they provide some more other additional benefits. Maybe, so from Amazon, you can spin up an EKS cluster in 15 minutes. Are you able to discover? So CloudCasa can automatically discover your newly created EKS cluster, and then you can start to back them up. But having said that, so Valaro itself does also support all different Kubernetes distributions. So as I mentioned, one of the key differentiators to me is why I need this third-party is lack of the UI support, lack of the multi-cluster management. I want to see, I have dozens of clusters, how my backup looks like. Unless you are really good at the scripting, you can automatically also from the scripting export to some other nice UI tool. Any question? Wow, looks like a lot of questions. Yeah, go for it.
Does Valaro or CloudCasa have common products to automate the installation? Or do you have to run plans first of all?
So it's made the installation.
also one for that very little on the function.
Definitely. Actually, even while part of my automation, I also enabled automatically to schedule the backup every hour. But if you want to schedule, like you want to schedule every 5 minutes, also doable. But that one is not the unique benefits you need a third party. Yeah, but the one you can schedule, it's just a cron job, you can schedule the job as well, because it's running command line, right? By default, Boiler also have its own scheduler. Yeah. Maybe just take one more question. Yeah, we are a little bit behind. Yeah,
so basically, Valero is taking backup of EKS and putting it in S3, right? So we are installing Valero on EC2 instance and giving the permission of an EC2 instance to access the S3, right? How we are giving the permission to Valero to access the S3?
Okay. So the question is about the permission. So how do we get the permission for Valero to access? To your question, yes, you don't need to access the S3. So actually, let me jump to the code to show you. It might be easier. So if you open up the Valero deploy command, so you can see, can you guys see it? So basically, first of all, you need to install the Valero. So I just automated, and then you create the S3 bucket here, and then you create the IAM user, set the permissions. So what exactly permissions? Here is a AWS policy, basically. So you need these policies to be able to describe the volume, describe the snapshot, create a tag, create a volume, create a snapshot, delete the snapshot. Okay. And once you've done that, you basically you give the IAM user the policy. And then the last step is we're going to install. So the Valero install command use the credentials here. And then the question asked earlier, how to schedule. So by default, I schedule it to run every hour. Okay. Yeah, time-wise, I will be here. If you guys have any other questions, yeah, we can have a little bit of chat later. So just including a few reference links here. So the installation documentation, yeah, technically you can just follow the install documentation. Latest version 1.2. But you really want to spend time to figure out how to do it. So that's why I automated. Yeah. Again, follow us on LinkedIn. And also, I also created a discussion group LinkedIn. Yeah, so far we got 4,400 members. So I mean, people just ask questions. Is there any question about the Kubernetes? So I guess, this is also the most active Kubernetes discussion group. So feel free to join us. I think that's all from my side. Yeah, I hope it is useful to you guys. Don't just come to learn. You need to learn by yourself and then come back to share what you learn. Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm going to hand it over to Rajesh to continue the second topic. Any other questions?
Can I move it together? Yeah, right. Can you see it? No. Oh, I think I have to move it to the other side. That's my problem. Zoom? Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask what benefits do I get for using EKS over Helm? Because I was using Gravity before, but that project was depreciated and then we changed to Helm. So, like for Helm, I wouldn't need to script for each and every different container that we
Meeting is being recorded.
I just wanted to know what benefits do I get to use EKS, and
What are the benefits you get using Helm?
Right, and then share screen, right? No, this I gotta go to the window. It's this one, right? You can see now.
If you want to share that one,
No, I shared the entire window,
yeah.
not the tab.
I mean, if you click the slides, can we see this demonstration?
Sorry.
Sure, I'm presenting.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably mirror my screen maybe.
You're not able to extend it?
Huh?
Not able to extend it?
I can extend.
Mirror it is.
Mirror is easy.
Mirror is-
Let me see. It's been a while since I messed with it, but yeah, it's going to be tough. Do you mind if I move it and then it's easy? Okay. Why is it
The
not?
slides
Oh,
are
yeah.
not presenting.
Oh, okay.
Because
So,
I think removed.
oh yeah, my bad. Damn it, stupid. Okay, I was wondering what's going on.
No problem. That's why I was like, there's nothing coming on the screen.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, good. Now I just need to just move it on to the other side. But actually, I was
Do you
wondering.
want to duplicate?
Yeah, I probably would duplicate it. Okay. You mean not
mirror, right?
Yeah, let's mirror it. Yeah,
There you
there you
go.
go. You see it? No.
Come, it'll come. There you go.
Oh, fine. Okay, thank you, Carl. All right, so let's do this. Okay, no problem, no problem. All right. Okay. Sorry about the hiccup. We'll get started. All right. First of all, I'm super excited to see the turnout. It's a lot, and and then really want to thank John Can and the group for inviting us to speak, as well as Carl from AWS who helped us find the venue last minute. So thank you so much. All right. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the lessons we learned while building abstractions for Kubernetes. So let me start with a quick intro about myself. I'm the founder and CTO for Rendoli. I was at Red Hat for a while. and spent a lot of time in the last 5 years, 5 to 6 years, modernizing and migrating applications onto Kubernetes, right? So whether it is OpenShift or EKS or AKS. So we learned a couple of lessons while doing that, and we ended up building whatever the products that we have, again, based on those experience, right? So I just wanted to share some of that journey and what we found out and how it was useful. Actually, we learned most of our lessons by actually observing our customers and working with our customers. So it's not just our lessons, it's what we observed out there in the field. All right. So KubeCon is around the corner. Who is going to KubeCon from here? All right. Okay. Good. Anyone else? I think Yongkang is going to. Okay. Oh yeah. Awesome. So because KubeCon is around the corner, I just wanted to quickly start with 5 cool open source projects to Kubernetes. Like Yongkang said, this platform is all about sharing. Whatever we found interesting, I thought maybe we'll share. I did share this at DevOps Days conference recently, and then a couple of days ago, someone messaged me saying, "Hey, we use this," and he was pretty happy. So it could be useful for you guys. So I'll quickly say a sentence about each of these products. Sorry, this open source projects, and you guys can do the research and try it out and see. So K8 is a event-driven platform that's on top of Kubernetes. Why is it useful? Because it can, if you want to run sort of quasi serverless, that's a great platform. So the difference between that and HPA is that with K8 you can actually scale, auto scale based on various different aspects that it plugs into. So for example, let's say you have a Kafka topic, right? And you want to scale your pods up and down based on the behavior of the topic. So for something like consumer lag, it can scale up and down based on that. Or if you're running something like Amazon SQS, based on the number of messages, you can scale up and down. This will ultimately help you save cost because you're only scaling when there is demand, and then you're coming down. And you pair that with cluster auto scaling. That means your cluster can grow and shrink. Argo rollouts. How many of you have heard about Argo CD over here? There you go. So this came out of that project. What Argo rollouts is doing is making it easy to do blue-green deployments on Kubernetes or canary deployments in Kubernetes. Pretty cool project. Try it out. You guys will love it. KubeGreen. This is one of my favorite projects. What it does is actually based on a schedule, you can scale your pods down to a 0. Why is that useful? Because let's say you're done with your, let's say you have a dev environment, right? After maybe, 7, 8, nobody's working until say, 7 in the morning. You scale down your pods. You have cluster auto scaling going on. Cluster can scale down to a minimum. And then next day morning, it'll automatically bring everything back up. So that's another way for you to scale, save costs, right? Save money. So that's a pretty cool project. And it's also good for the planet. I guess that's why they named it KubeGreen. External secrets. I guess there's probably a lot of you have done Java. Anybody heard about SLF4J framework for logging, right? No? So it's so there you go. So it's like a logging abstraction, and what it does is usually you can have different bindings. So it's the same story. So external secrets is you can define your Kubernetes secrets in a declarative way, and you can have multiple secret engine secret engine stores plugged into it. So HashiCorp Vault, everybody's heard about HashiCorp Vault. AWS Key Manager, Azure Key Vault, those are all secret stores that are supported by external secrets. It came out of GoDaddy. You guys heard about GoDaddy? Remember those cheesy ads we saw in the access at this website? So they are actually, they started this open source project and contributed to it. Pretty popular one. Great way to manage your secrets. The way it works is, this is very GitOps friendly. So you define your Kubernetes secrets, as a CRD, and at runtime, the secrets operator will pull your secrets from the backend, so AWS Key Manager or HashiCorp Vault, and then create the actual Kubernetes secret on the fly. So you're not storing any secrets anywhere. Yeah.
These external secrets managers like HashiCorp or AWS or CyberArk, do they have post-write hooks or triggers so that if someone updates a secret, it'll basically tag the other thing and say, look, you need to update?
Yes. Yeah. No. So I'm not familiar with all of those. So especially, I'm pretty sure not the AWS Key Manager Key Vault. I also don't know enough about HashiCorp Vault to give you a definitive answer, but I'm happy to find out because I know someone who's very familiar with HashiCorp Vault, and I can get that answer for you. However, though, the externals. So let's say you modify the secret on the cluster, that doesn't change the external secret CRD. So the idea is, if you're using a DDoS approach, you actually change the CRD. That should influence how your secret changes. Yeah. And your HashiCorp Vault could be off cluster too. So this is a great. So finally, open cost. Everybody cares about cost, and this project shines a light on how your workloads are costing you, and and break it down by namespaces and deployments, etc. Because usually your cloud bill will give how much you're paying for a cluster. Open cost can tell you how much you're paying for each workload within that cluster. All right. So with that in mind, we are gonna get to the main topic about abstractions. So how many of you are running Kubernetes in production right now? There you go. Oh, very nice. How many of you are beginning to start working with Kubernetes? There's quite a few, right? So can I ask, what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing? If you have to name one challenge, what would it be?
Just starting out.
And what did you feel like when you started? Was it a high, a learning curve problem? Yeah, it's a very high learning curve. Yeah. How about you?
There are so many things to learn. I mean, the way it used to do before the classical way and the cloud way, that's different. So it takes time to get used to.
Okay. Who else want to share? Anyone who's starting new, maybe we all started somewhere. So what are some of the challenges that you saw? So, yes.
Sorry, hi everybody. My name is Paul. So I work with a bunch of large banks, and they're working with larger OpenShift systems, either off premises or on premises. And I work with some of the simpler tools, and I do automation. So I can start myself kind of going with the larger tools. But where I get stopped is literally starting. How do I get something? I'm speaking rhetorically. How can I get a small version of something so I can start practicing with it, learning the tools so that I know how to feed them into an automation pipeline, so I don't have to risk blowing up a developer cluster or something like that.
That's very useful. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
One of the things I realized after trying out all the demos and labs, I realized I'm running kubectl, doing everything I want, but I didn't think of security at all. The RBAC, kind of a security user management. That thing in production is way more important than what you can do in the sandbox.
Okay, gotcha. This is very awesome. So I think if you look at, I think John can share the CNCF landscape. There's so many different parts to it. Like your point, you got to think about security, you got to think about backup, and you're talking about how do I start small and incrementally build, because you're kind of thrown into the deep end, right? And you guys talk about the learning curve. So these are some of the challenges that some folks who are new to Kubernetes will face. And so as companies adopted Kubernetes, so we did a lot of OpenShift work with our customers, and we found out similar experience. Maybe the operations group who started, they know how to set up and operate the clusters, but when the developers are exposed to the clusters, there's now struggling. So that's why companies started thinking about, can we build abstractions, right? And then this whole platform engineering movement that you see, where people are thinking about how do we make it easy, how do we make it simplified for the people who are going to work with these clusters. I think Yunken brought up a great point. He said, as a developer, I care about building applications. Honestly, I was a lifelong developer. I don't code as much these days, but I love learning about Kubernetes, but I want to spend most of my time building applications, not really trying to figure out how everything fits together, right? So let's, see, this is one of the things that we noticed, like, especially when people start new, a lot of time is spent trying to figure out what the hell this is. What happens when I run this kubectl command? What happens, like, which command do I need to run? So Googling, trying to figure out, whether it's ChatGPT or whatever, it takes a lot of time. And then debugging is a bit of a nightmare because it's complicated, right? And especially the developers have to kind of, like, they're the ones, I think, kind of suffer the most. And I came from I'm a developer, so I kind of empathize with that situation. So this is something that we definitely noticed over a period of time. Right. So can we reduce this complexity and the routine? So the experience flow. Some of you are talking about, okay, I'm running Kubernetes in production, but there's a lot of, I guess, grunt work that you have to do, right? And you build automation to get around it, but and sometimes a lot of organizations put these recipes, whether it's Terraform scripts or backup scripts, all of those, and then they try and build higher abstractions. So even Yunkan script, you can think of it as an abstraction because it abstracts a bunch of things so that everyone doesn't have to repeat it. Right, so that's where people start to experiment. So initially, most of the abstractions are to help the operations teams who knows Kubernetes to make their life easy with the routine work. And when someone new joins your team, they have already the recipes, the runbooks, playbooks to deal with. But then comes the developers. So how do we reduce complexity? So that's what I want to talk about. So I'll explore this through like 3 personas. I shamelessly put myself there, but we'll look at from a developer perspective. We look at from the platform engineering perspective, so people who set up, manage clusters, and then from a sort of an engineering management perspective, because if you're running a software team and you're building applications in Kubernetes, you would understand that it's very difficult to ramp up people, train them, hire people who know Kubernetes. So they themselves have some challenges about, hey, how do we make sure my team's following best practices? How do we make sure we are doing the right thing? So this is where some of these abstractions come into play. So I'll explore this through these personas. All right, so let's start with Achini, who is a developer. Oops. I want to talk about a couple of points, and I'll talk about the lessons learned in the context of these. So first one is, if you're building an abstraction, what's the right level of abstraction, and will it reduce complexity? And then I want to talk about how should we build these abstractions, and how should we encourage the use of these abstractions. I'll talk about that. And then finally, who should own these abstractions? All right, so let's talk about the right level of abstraction, if there's one. So when Achini started, she just out of school, and she got thrown into the deep end like many other people. Lot of struggling, right? So when you deploy your first couple of applications, what's an image pullback here? Why is my my pod crashed? How do I find my logs? Well, a lot of people seem to be nodding because they understand that, and even the experienced people, I know you know it now, but a couple of years ago you went through the same thing, right? So we can appreciate that challenge, and it took a long time for her to create the manifests, and we used Kustomize. It was error prone. It actually at least helped with YAML hell a little bit, but we were trying to figure out, can we do something better? So we started building an abstraction, like a UI-based abstraction. We looked at a couple of options, and then some people are like, oh, I don't like UIs. I want CLI, I want an API, whatever. So anyways, so we figured out, we'll start with an abstraction, like an intake form, where people can, it's a more user-friendly way, it's a guided way, and you fill in the information, and then in the back end, that generates all the YAML for you, right? Easy. So that's just the deployment part. Like we talked about the other things, like what's an image builder? Why is it complaining about the config map? It looks like something is missing. So how do we figure that part? So what we ended up doing was looking at the events and providing, so process the event and provide a plain English explanation of it and start some steps to run remediation or investigate and remediate. So great. So by the time Ashini started is when we started building that, and then Ashini got pretty comfortable with Kubernetes, and she's one of the folks who built the Kubernetes event and how do you interpret that. So by that time, she knew the Kubernetes API, not just API very well, but the SDK, because she's kind of went deeper into the Kubernetes events, etc. So then what's the value for Ashini with an abstraction like this? It's the reducing the grunt work. Or when she's mentoring the other folks in the team, it's an easier way for them to be self-sufficient without everyone asking, hey, what's happening with my pod? I can't seem to deploy, or it seems to be crashing. So let's get to the sort of the first lesson. I have two sort of steps in my first lesson. The type of abstraction will change even for an individual as they build more maturity. So if it changes for an individual, how do you build it for a group, right? It's very hard to build an abstraction that will work for everyone. It's hard to build an abstraction that can satisfy everything. So what should you do? You should aim for a balance between flexibility and ease of use. Because if we build a UI abstraction and say, this is exactly what you need to put in. Now, let's say you're doing some advanced use cases. Like, for example, I want to put a pod spec template, right? I want to do horizontal pod auto scaling. So that's why when you build this, you have to use some flexibility. And I'll talk about some actual customer experience we saw where when the abstraction was too rigid, that caused a lot of friction. So initially it was great, but then when people start to get more comfortable with Kubernetes and want to do advanced stuff, the abstraction became a distraction. It became a point of contention. All right, so, and that's the sort of the second part of what I was talking about. You can build an abstraction to satisfy all. I don't think there's one such abstraction that's exists that can work for everyone. Just figure out what works for the majority of the folks in your environment, in your company, and then work along with it. Right. So how should we build these abstractions? Right. So I'll take you through an actual customer experience. So this is he was the director of cloud ops at a large cloud corporation in Canada. So they started with an abstraction. So they had like a bit of an onboarding form. So what he did was that when you want to bring in a new microservice, you just fill out a form. And it'll give you like a cookie cutter pipeline, a Git repository for your microservice, and an archetype based on the workflow structure. So that was great. So when they just started, this worked brilliantly. And then people figure out, okay, so they were using Spring Boot for Java. They all started with the REST services because it's pretty easy. Now they want to do like message-driven Kafka. All right, so then now the current archetype doesn't work. So then they'll build another one that's more message-driven. So and then they have to keep on building and evolving. Pipelines. You start with pipelines, and as you build better and better, you improve your DevSecOps, you understand security better. Then you start to have different variations of the pipeline stuff. So the versioning comes into play, right? So I think one of the big mistakes people do is thinking that the abstraction is a one and done, but abstractions have to evolve over time. So treat it like a product, just like any other software that you build. The abstractions that you build has to evolve as your company adopts Kubernetes and improve the maturity. So that should help. Otherwise, it becomes, like I said, what it helped in the beginning would become a barrier, would become a point of friction later on. All right. So another point: how do we build this abstraction? Same company, right? So they started with a lot of microservices. Everyone was pretty happy. Migrated a couple of mission critical applications, and then came this legacy application, 200 jobs. It was all in one single repository, and then their model, the microservice per report, didn't work, right? That model, because the platform engineering team said, all right, this doesn't work for us. You need to now take that Git repository and put it like, whatever that's that jobs that you have, put it into 200 different Git repositories, because that's the only one we can support. This entire project was managed by 5 to 6 people. They were like, we are not going to put our code into 200 Git repositories. It doesn't change, and it doesn't change all the time too. So that it was like, so that's one of those things that we don't anticipate, and that's why you need to think about evolving. But if you are very rigid, then you even within your own organization, you will find that when you get to certain things, you may not fit that model, right? So, and the other thing is, this is classic serverless, because some of these batch jobs run only at a particular time. But the only model they had was Git repository, direct line to a microservice. So they were like, oh, spread it into microservice, Git repository, let's run 200 microservices. That would have been a terrible idea. So, but they were pretty adamant that, oh no, we need to, because we have this abstraction, we got to use it. So that's the third lesson that I want to talk about, is that in platform engineering, building these abstractions are called golden paths, because it makes it easy for you to quickly build and deploy applications. But while building golden paths, just don't build a golden cage, because now you're boxed in. What you can do, is limited as you get more and more experienced. All right, so now we build these abstractions. What's next? Let's say you're from anyone here from a platform engineering team or DevOps team? So there you go, right? And now you build these things, trying to get these developers to use it, right? As a software engineering manager or someone who's leading the cloud ops group, how do you make sure that, especially in larger organizations, how do you stop people from reinventing the wheel? If team A is deploying with Helm charts, team B is doing something else, another team is hand cranking YAMLs. That's like the Wild West, and you see that, and it's a mess, right? And then how do you make sure that like the best practice, and then the other side of the coin, some teams have more expertise, other teams don't. So how do you help those teams? How do you take your organization's Kubernetes knowledge and capture it in some form so you can scale it? So every team gets to build and deploy applications without having to learn a ton of things, right? So that's something to consider when you're building these kind of abstractions. So the best way to do this is, and we learned this by looking at organizations that did this really well. What they ended up doing was, they whatever they created, they put it in a way that is easy for people to discover and use. If you're from a platform engineering team, if you build something, it's not easy to use, developers will look at something else. So they'll complain, because I've been to other organizations where the developers are like, no, I'm not going to do this. This is too much work. I'm already doing, ABC. I don't want to adopt this. So make it as easy as possible to use. Make it as easy as possible to discover. And as you improve these templates, put it in. And there's a lot of popularity these days for internal developer platforms and portals. They came about to solve some of these needs. Right. Now, we're talking about developer self-service and, empowerment, right? Because that's what these templates give, right? So sometimes these templates are about creating your own cluster. Sometimes these templates are about getting to deploy applications. But what does this mean? Now you're giving the developers and teams the power to spin up clusters, deploy applications. How do you prevent people from like for example, kind of talking about if you spin up a cluster, you don't spin it down, you are going to pay the bill at the end of the month. Today, we were talking with one of the it's a financial firm, and he was talking about one particular group ended up doing some stuff, and for that month alone, their bill was 400K. So there is plenty of opportunities for things to go wrong, because sometimes the abstractions, what it does is you don't see, like, you get all of this, but how do you make sure that people understand the consequences of the abstractions, right? Because, hey, it's easy. I click a button, I get a cluster, I run it around script. Do people think about, destroying it? Do I even put some sort of process around it? Do they understand how much it's costing? Right? You don't want to wait until the end of the month to figure out. So that's why you have to, when you're building abstractions, think about that. It's not just also empowering, but it's also, where's your governance model? How do you enforce? How do you have checks and balances on the platform team to figure out what's going on? So yeah, I already sort of said it. Make it easy for teams to discover your golden paths, but the abstraction shouldn't absolve you from taking responsibility. You have to help the developers to be good citizens, so that you don't get a thumping cloud bill. Right. Final one. Who should own these abstractions? And so we've seen plenty of platform engineering teams, and now they think, okay, we are the Kubernetes experts. We are going to build these abstractions, and and the developers should follow it. Now, when you build a product outside, let's say your company is building a product, are you going to build it and say, you know what, I'm going to build a product. This is how it's going to be. My customers should like it, right? That doesn't work, right? And maybe customers will provide feedback, but we're like, oh, no. You don't get to tell us, how to build our product. We are the experts. We are going to build the product. Very soon, you'll be left with no customers. But that's exactly how some platform engineering teams are building abstractions. You have internal customers. That's your developers. And if you just think that, I know Kubernetes, so I'm going to build whatever I want, you have to use it. That doesn't work. So you have to take into account, like I told, my first lesson was, think of it as a product. Sorry, first or second one, think of it as a product. You also have to think the other, So when you build a product, you solicit feedback, you bring people together, because at the end of the day, the people who are using it, you're building it for them, not for you. You will build some abstractions platform team as well, but majority of the users of your engineering teams, they have to be happy, take their feedback into account. So think about clear ownership. Some group needs to own it, because otherwise it'll be like the Wild West. So we are doing help charts, I'm doing, just hand cranking things, or we are building a UI. So you need a standard. So that's why you need clear ownership. But whatever you build, please build it collaboratively, take into their feedback into account. And the organizations that did that, I've seen they build really, really good abstractions. And that has helped people to focus on building products and services, not really, battling with Kubernetes. All right, so quick summary. There's no one-size-fits-all abstraction, right? That should be pretty clear. Treat your abstractions like a product. I've mentioned this multiple times. I can't stress how important it is. Building golden paths and not golden cages, because otherwise you're going to do more harm than good. And make it easy to use and discover your golden paths, because if people don't end up using it, then that's all going to waste, right? And finally, clear ownership model, but build it collaboratively. All right, so we sort of got to the end of it. I want to take 5 minutes to show you sort of the power of an abstraction and how it can help someone who is very new to Kubernetes or very experienced person, because like I said, the interesting part is not deploying to Kubernetes. It's like doing the experimentation and other things. So how do you deploy something very quickly using an abstraction? So I have a little demo. It's a live demo. It's not recorded. So God help me. I've got an EKS cluster here. As a namespace, it's pretty empty. I just want to deploy this application. This is an open source application. I think came from Heroku. It's a Node.js application, some sort of chat application, and there's no Docker file or anything. That's someone new. Now I want to take this and within a couple of minutes deploy into my EKS cluster, but I also want to not just build it, I want to build a proper pipeline because I want to scan best practices, all of that stuff, and then get it deployed. Now assume I don't know much about Kubernetes. So very quickly, I think I forgot I logged out. I'll show you something here. A couple of things are sort of pre-set up. I want to go and create my application here. So I'll create my chat application. I'll pick my Node.js template. And by the way, like there's plenty of organizations I've seen, including the big 5 banks, have variations of what you see. There's no right or wrong way. It could be CLI, could be a UI, could be API driven. So let's say it's a chat app, right? And now I get 2 environments. In the interest of time, I'll just delete this guy. Right. Okay. So just want to deploy an application to a dev environment. I have an EKS cluster. I'll just put it into my dev, and I have a Git repository. That's the one. I want to do a SonarQube scan. So I'd say, I give the project key, let's pre-fill some of these things. I want to name my image Node.js chat app. Just tag it this, there's different ways of tagging it. I'm just taking the easiest option because I want to scan my image, because once you build your image, you want to scan it, right? And then I'm gonna, tag my image to a different environment, and I can run some custom stuff, right? So now I've got some of that stuff. I want to just, deploy this one once I build it. And I think everything else is probably good. I can save it. It'll complain if I don't. Yes. I believe this one, but hopefully this will work. Or maybe this one. Sorry, my bad. Now let me see. It'll either work or it won't. Like I said, live demo, and God help me. Right. Okay, so now I just want to go and build this little application. So I'll first want to, trigger my pipeline. So I'll trigger the pipeline, and I go here into my cluster. Hopefully soon. I hope EKS puts that refresh button a little below. See, now my pipeline is running. It's also running, using Kubernetes. It is using something called Tekton. Tekton is a project that came out of Knative. OpenShift pipelines are based on that. The idea is pipelines are serverless compared to something like Jenkins. Every step in your pipeline runs like a pod, so very Kubernetes native. It'll run. It'll take a couple of minutes to run, but while it's running, I will get it deployed as well to show the deployment part, because I pre-built image. Deploy it. And as you can see, the pipeline's already done run some of that stuff. But if you come here, now your application is also deployed. So your deployment is over here. Still some pipeline stuffs are running, but your application is not. So that's the power of deployment. You don't need, like when your platform teams are building these things, the idea is you make it easy for people to tap into the power of Kubernetes without having to know what like all the internals of Kubernetes. You need to know the concepts, but you have to know everything. Like you were talking about how do you provide people a softer landing, so that they can incrementally build their knowledge. That's the sort of the power of abstractions, and if you're building those, hopefully you keep some of the hard lessons we learned. And I, wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll give it back to Young Pan and the team.
So we have a quiz plan for you guys. So this is a direct event.
Thank you.
And Facebook. Okay, so the QR code is in front of you. Won't take much of your time. I've been saying, guys out there checking the Google map, how much time it would take to reach their home. So won't take more than 10 minutes. Just scan the QR code and yeah, we'll have a quiz. I'll just explain the rules pretty quickly. We'll have 10 questions. Each question would have 30 to 40 seconds for you to select the answer. And you need to have your fingers really fast because we have too many people showing up. So for goodies, I think it would be a good competition. So yeah, let's see the leaderboard and let's see who wins. In the new window. Okay, I hope everyone has joined. We are about to start the quiz. Oh, you want the code? Okay, let's get going. Okay, here we go. I'm still not able to see all the participants. 3, 4. I hope everyone is joining. If someone wants the internet connection, you can use the guest Wi-Fi as well. Okay, let me stream the first question in front of you right away. Okay, time's up. Let's see the leaderboard. So yeah, here's the second question in front of you.
Yes, so soon people can also see information. Actually, the master you answer.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
You get the high ranking.
With the one that you sent the other people.
Okay, let's get to third question, and I might skip the timer as well if the question is easy. So be fast. Okay, too many participants getting this right. Leaderboard is also ticking. Next question. Halfway down, let's see the fifth question. Okay, the cloud would just climb to the first one. Next question. Okay, here's the seventh one. Okay, over 70% got it right. Here is the eighth one. Okay, last few chance for you to claim the goodie. Here's the 9th one. Okay, the last chance, 10th one. Okay, time's up. Let's see the leaderboard. Okay, the Cloud Dude is the first one, second Rahul, and third is Sunil. Congratulations and hang around after the meetup. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the meetup. Thank you so much. Follow us on LinkedIn, message us, and one more thing. Thank the people for that.
Yeah, anyone wants to go to in Chicago? I do have one ticket, but you need to book your hotel. Book your only one ticket. The ticket can be valued like closer to 2,000 US dollars. If only one, I would give the ticket to that. Okay, so you guys no problem, right? And I do. So the three of these people got the provided to the formal body. And yes, also who's the club doing? Oh, and the Dolly, yeah, present, take photos, why not? With the second Rahul. The number is really from you. Congratulations. I also have more freebies. So two of these actually from CloudCasa, pretty useful. The 3-in-1 charger, the USB charger. If you like, yeah, who's the number 4?
Jesus.
You got a choice. You got a choice. Yeah, you want to take a family pack
Or
the
charger cable.
which color? The pink.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's take 999.
You want bag?
also got choice.
Okay, but thank you. Thank you for coming.
No one is speaking the pink one.
The last two choices, if you want to choose the USB charger, you have the table or the family pack. Okay.
Okay.
The last one looks like another one.
Okay. Maybe if a girl is there.
The last one, Manish, is that Manish?
No.
No.
Anton.
Take it to the one. Girl.
Is that Anton? That's Anton. Congratulations. Thinking is a nice product. Again, thanks everybody for joining us. Hopefully this is a fun Kubernetes learning session. Hopefully you guys can be as we're helping the community, not helping the community. Thank you so much.
And those who didn't join, we have some cool stickers out there as well. So
Oh, yes.
shine your laptops, all yours.
There was some speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Chalo, bye. Bye.